This video is about how to use subject headings in library databases. A lot of library databases let you use subject headings, and they're a way to get a more specific set of results, more precise for the topic that you're looking for. Depending on your topic, sometimes it can be really helpful. This video is intended for after you've learned how to locate a database, after you've learned how to use keywords, after you've learned how to use and or, and use the asterisk to truncate and get different endings of words. If you're not familiar with those topics yet, you probably want to watch the videos on those first. I'm in the APA PsycInfo database here. I'm doing a search for the effects of strict parenting on aggression in children. I've typed in a search for strict with an asterisk and parent with an asterisk and aggress with an asterisk to get results with the words aggression, aggressive, and so on. I'm going to look at the results that came up here to see how relevant they are. The first one says justice sensitivity in middle childhood, measurement and location in the temperamental and social skills space. That doesn't sound very relevant. The second one says the relationship between parenting styles and fourth graders' levels of empathy and aggressiveness. That sounds very relevant to my topic. The next one is expressions through movement and dance, exploring the mind-body connection, etc. Based on the title, I can't tell why that's relevant to my topic. If I was trying to do a very detailed search right now, I would open the article and read the abstract to understand whether it might be relevant to my topic. But at the moment, I'm just doing a preliminary exploratory search, and I'm going to skim through the first few results to try to get an idea whether it might be better to make my search a little more focused before I spend time going through all of the results that came up. I'd rather not have to spend time going through a lot of irrelevant results just to make sure I didn't miss an especially important article that people would expect me to find on my topic. They continue to sound not very relevant, so I'm interested in making my topic a little more specific if I can. This is where you can use subject headings, so I'll explain what they are. Before the people at PsycInfo put the articles and other results into PsycInfo, they read the title and abstract and other info about the article. I'll just use the word article to make it easier to explain, but it's the same for the other types of results too. So after they look at the article, they have a standardized list of terms that they classify the articles under depending on the main topics of the article. And if you can find the terms that they use to classify articles that are relevant to your topic, you can pull up results that are classified by a real person on that topic. The terms they use to classify the articles are called subject headings. In the usual search that you do, the database just matches the terms that you typed in to almost any old word in the result. So the normal search you do, the results you pull up might have the terms you typed in just somewhere at the bottom of the abstract, or even once in a while your terms happen to be the author's name or something, and so the article that comes up really isn't relevant. But if you only search for articles that are classified by a real person under that subject heading relevant to your topic, the article will really be about the topic of that subject heading. So I'm going to try a different search now to see if I can get fewer results that are not relevant to come up. One place to find some terms or subject headings that people working at PsycInfo use to classify articles is under each article here on the results list. Under each title and under the citation info, you see the word subjects in bold. And then you see subject headings they are classified this article under. So for example, the second article is classified under aggressiveness and empathy and parenting style, and some others. If you find a subject heading that you think is good for your topic, you can enter it into the search boxes back up at the top of the page in the search area. I'm going to type in parenting style in place of the word parent that I had before. In the drop-down menu just past that box that I'm typing into, I have a drop-down that says Select a Field Optional. You want to change that to SU Subjects. Doing that means it's only going to pull up articles where parenting style, or whatever you typed in, is listed by the people at PsycInfo as one of the main subjects of the article. Now I'll run the search again. This time I've only gotten 10 results. But as I skim the articles here, almost all of them have parenting style or aggression bolded in the title or the description. When I read the titles, most of them do seem relevant to my topic. For example, the relationship between parenting styles and fourth graders' levels of empathy and aggressiveness. Another one is parenting styles and aggressive adolescents, relationships with self-esteem and personal maladjustment. And another one, parents or peers, predictors of prosocial behavior and aggression, a longitudinal study. This seems like a more specific, focused search. I would still want to look for more subject headings on my topic and run some more searches though. Subject heading searches work well for many topics, but not all. For some topics, there aren't any subject headings that are relevant enough. In that case, it works better to do the usual type of search, with whatever comes up by default in the drop-down menu. In EBSCO, it's select a field. So that was one example of using subject headings to focus your search. If you want to learn more, ask a librarian.